That's right, we're going to talk about the movies that we like regardless of critical praise, box office totals, and overall audience reception. These are the movies we love for being what they are, why they are, and how they are. These are our comfort flicks.
In an age when few men played by the rules, one man survived.
Is this seat taken?
It is now.
By making his own, and his name was Maverick.
You always been gutless?
Was that fast? I thought that was fast.
Out to win the biggest prize of all. Maverick.
So there's been one genre that I'm sure you all noticed that we've kind of not really paid a lot of attention to recently, that being, of course, the Western genre. And a lot of it really is that, admittedly, it's not really our go-to genre. I'm not saying we hate Westerns by any stretch, it's just not as many of them tickled me as much. I mean, off the top of your head, what would you say is one of your favorites?
Butch Cassidy and Sundance.
I can't swim! Why, are you crazy? The fall will probably kill you.
Django Unchained.
Well, yeah, Django Unchained.
I like the way you die, boy.
But Butch Cassidy Sundance Kid is definitely one of our favorites. Of course, it actually is not that surprising considering the person who wrote the movie that we're talking about today, that of course being...
How can I possibly go on without my wallet?
Damn.
Maverick was written by William Goldman, who a lot of other people know and love as the guy who wrote not just the book, but the movie of The Princess Bride, amongst many other incredible things. And this is another one he teamed up with Richard Donner, and he, of course, is another team up with Mel Gibson.
This was, of course, pre-Passion Mel Gibson.
Report her to the fucking people that take fucking money from the wetback.
It was post-Passion is when things went bad.
This was around the time when he was like one of the most likable actors.
Yeah, he was likable back then.
Yeah.
Amazingly, yes. Once
Yeah.
he was a likable person.
Yeah, I mean, it was so easy to like this man because even when he was playing hardcore characters, he always had this old twinkle about him that always made him just fun to watch.
Yeah, it was a different time.
Yeah, a much different time. I think both you and I are in agreement that this movie is kind of like the epitome of Mel Gibson's likability.
I don't want to go to bed with you, lady.
Why not?
Why not? Why not? I'd be too frightened.
Yeah, I could go with that. Not mean-spirited, not even violent, or I mean, Martin Riggs got to be a little more like this. Like, this was around the point where that character shifted from dramatic to more entertaining. This was around that point.
Yeah, Donner and Gibson. Donner was always a director who always used to who could test Gibson's limits as far as what he could do as an actor. One that no one talks about, which I frankly think they should, is Conspiracy Theory, the movie that Donner did with him and Julia Roberts, and Gibson was through the roof in that one.
Which irony is that prior to Julia Roberts being casted, they were originally going to have Jodie Foster.
Oh.
But she was doing Contact.
Oh. I'm not sure if that was a worthwhile exchange. Actually, a lot of people don't even talk about this movie at all anymore.
I don't get why when people bring up like more recent westerns, now I'm not talking about the classics or anything, but just recent westerns, why it's not brought up. You know, they'll talk about...
I'm your huckleberry.
Tombstone's another good one.
Tombstone is a great
That's
one.
a great film.
Tombstone is a great one.
But they will always, and I think the reason is that this was a lighthearted film, and it's not a focus on really gunslinging or like your main character is not an outlaw of his own making. He's not a sheriff. He's just a guy who plays cards. He's openly says he's a crap shot, you know.
Yeah. He's a fast draw.
What chance would I have had? Answer? 0.
But he's a crap shot.
And he openly is like, what, he who can run away
Another day.
He's like, not your throwing yourself out there, but he'll still do the right thing, and of course try to save his own skin too.
Yeah, all for the there's always like double meanings to what he does. Yeah, he'll do something nice, but usually if there's something for his benefit as well. But he's not the kind of guy who's going to screw innocent people over.
No, he actually does the right thing. It's the funny part is that everyone around him is as dubious as he is.
Yeah.
Which I think is actually refreshing, is that nobody is 100% good. Everyone is willing to screw over somebody else just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to keep going. And it's like, in that era, you know, you're out in the West.
You're pretty much, everyone's
pretty
much out for themselves, and these are the kind of people who seem to survive just by their wits and just by their either by their charm or their intelligence or, yeah, just whatever natural talent they have at their disposal. And the movie focuses on these three characters who all have their own little assets on that front. The few of you who are going to watch this video will probably ask, why aren't we bringing this up? This movie is based on a classic TV series by Roy Huggins. We're not bringing it up for the very simple fact
people knew Wild Wild West was a TV show before they saw that movie, then they knew Maverick was a series before. When I saw it in the theater, I had no idea it was a TV series.
Yeah.
I found out after the fact. Then I found out, oh, James Garner played Maverick.
and yeah.
Researching the film, like, for some details, the film actually pays homage to the series really well. And there's a ton of clever things in there that are subtle and not subtle. So if you're a fan of the show, you're getting, like, extra bonus stuff. If you're not a fan or have never seen it, you're not alienated.
The best TV-based movies are the ones where you don't even need to worry about. I mean, that's why the Addams Family movies are so good. You don't have to have seen them.
But it's fun. If it's a bonus if you have seen it. It's just little bonuses.
The benefit of William Goldman doing the writing, especially given how well he did with Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, he brings that same magic to the because Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, if you actually look at the history, we're not very pleasant people. But through William Goldman's writing, he was able to, bring out a nice mischievous charm to it. It's that same charm he brings to Maverick, and I think people really need to.
And I would say the dialogue is witty, but it's a natural witty, just like in Butch Dance.
Yeah, it never feels.
Butch Cassidy and Sundance. I just combined it. I just made one person out of two.
Yeah.
Butch Sundance. So the one other thing with this film is actually the massive amount of cameos. Like, some are so in there that you can't even see the person. Like, the guy with the mask on that you can't see his face, that's Corey Feldman. Because he was in The Goonies that was directed by Richard Donner. The best cameo...
Hey! I'm sorry. Give me that!
They even play the little sting of Eric Clapton's guitar.
He gets his line.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yeah.
But here's the funny thing. When I saw this movie the first time, this was before I saw any of the Lethal Weapons. So I'm watching these two guys staring at each other like they recognize each other, but they don't, but they do. And the thing is, I had no context to the joke.
Yeah.
But I thought it was the funniest thing because it just was funny. These two people are just staring at each other like they know each other, but they don't. And they don't even address it.
Yeah.
Until I saw Lethal Weapon, and then, of course, I'm too old for this shit, and all those lines are there, and I'm like, oh, that's what they're doing. Okay, so it was just extra funny. Now it's hysterical.
Yeah, I was on the opposite end because prior to this one, I had just watched Lethal Weapon 3. That was my first Lethal Weapon movie. So, and I love Lethal Weapon 3. I will fight for Lethal Weapon 3.
I think the third one's great.
I love the third one. And a lot of that charm was the great chemistry between the two. So, of course, I geeked out knowing that Richard Donner directed this and then seeing the two of them have that great exchange. I mean, it was right up there with Hot Shots Part 2 with Charlie Sheen and Martin Sheen.
I loved you in Wall Street!
And even better, this one isn't just a love letter to the TV series or even just Richard Donner's filmography, but it also is a love letter to Westerns in general, because in the poker sequence, there is a slew of...
Everyone.
Just a slew of country singers, popular Western character actors, all...
Writers, everyone.
All are in the background. Actually, even I think one of the writers of the original show is in there.
Episodes, he's one of the guys there, and it's like, just person after person, and it's cool if you know it, but it doesn't take away from it. It's not those cameos that take away from the film.
And as I've said before, and it's one thing I've said all the time with Narcotic Castro, I'm a big fan of 2%er jokes. Even if I don't get the jokes, I love the fact that there's a joke that was tailor-made for those two people.
As long as it doesn't distract from the story or what's going on, you throw them all in. I don't care.
This film I actually would put in the same vein as Hot Fuzz and even Shaun of the Dead, in the sense that it's not so much a spoof, but is an affectionate tribute to a genre.
Comedic twist to a legitimate, like, more serious films. A certain individual in this film, which we'll probably get into, is definitely a more...
We're just bursting at the seams to talk about this actor, so we're going to go ahead and talk about him. We got to talk about Graham Greene. And we got to pay tribute to this man because he is easily one of the most successful character actors of all time. Not only that, one of the most successful Native American character actors of all time.
Filmography is like 165 films.
And he's been in things that you wouldn't even realize. I mean, even beyond just playing Native American characters, actually, one of my favorites that I didn't realize that was him just because he was so good, Die Hard with a Vengeance. He actually played one of McClane's entourage. He was the one who's busted into the school to try to get the kids out. That was him.
Yeah, I remember because when I saw the Die with a Vengeance, like, it's Chief Joseph.
Yeah.
I love him in Maverick, so quickly recognized.
But the thing that makes his part in this movie so brilliant is that this comes out like about maybe a couple years after about 3 years after his Oscar-nominated performance in Dances with Wolves. So one could say that he was pretty much parodying this image. It's kind of like it's kind of akin to Robert De Niro in Analyze This.
Decency, pull yourself together, man. Everybody's looking.
Not the romanticized variation. He even criticizes that in the film by saying, like, yeah, this guy wants the Old West.
He wants me to speak like they say in the books, huh? Oh, wait, man. People are such assholes.
My favorite line is people are such assholes.
That and
he's really a likable person. That you can see why Maverick's friends with him, and he's just one of the better other lines is like, you know, we're gonna find a nice piece of swampland so god awful that maybe you'll leave us the hell alone. He's just straight up and does not hold back anything.
Only in the movie for like I'd say a grand total of maybe 12 minutes.
But he steals every second he's got. But he takes him right away from. I mean.
Oh yeah,
Mel Gibson loses all the shine when he's on screen.
Yeah, pretty much. And it does make you lament that he's only in the movie for such a short time.
But it works.
It does.
It works because the film does have a very episodic point system, which it kind of makes, if you think about it, works for a film based on a TV series, because the series would probably have been very episodic. It has like point A, B, C, D.
With the episodic structure, like any TV season, you got the whole goal, the ultimate goal of the season. You know, in this case, Maverick's ultimate goal: get to the poker game, see if he can win the poker game, and the road to get there. This is, in a way, a road movie in the Western sense. And like any road movie, he's going to run into obstacles along the way, which serves this especially well, especially with the episodic structure. Yeah, some could accuse the movie of being disjointed because it does have a lot of random adventures where they end up helping a group of missionaries get money back.
Random things happen.
Yeah, random, but it's all in aid of them getting to this journey to get to the final point of the game.
But I always feel like a lot of Westerns have that structure. Things are always very randomly just happening, and you just kind of move through it. I mean, even the video games like Red Dead Redemption and all those, it's the same kind of thing. Yeah. So it kind of makes sense. If it wasn't a Western, it wouldn't work. But I think with a Western, it works. And the adventures are fun. It's always fun. Everyone is entertaining, and it never slows down. No one does anything out of character, or when they do, there's a narrative point to it, and it's explained.
I mean, Jodie Foster, she's about 3 years shy of her win, for her double win 2 years in a row for The Accused and for Silence of the Lambs.
Which are nothing like this film.
Absolutely nothing like this. And Jodie Foster has never lost her momentum since, but I don't think she's ever played a character just as sincerely, adorably fun as Annabelle Bransford.
She looks like she's just having so much fun. Like, you can just see it. Like, I mean, she's a great actress, don't get me wrong. But, so when you can tell that an actor's having a good time doing the role, you can tell.
You did this on purpose.
Well, you bet I did.
This is my lucky shirt.
Why don't you learn how to do your own laundry then?
Yeah, absolutely.
She's absolutely having a blast.
Yeah, and her chemistry with Mel Gibson is great. And and we've said in the past how love stories in a film, if they're forced, can really get grating. On this is a prime example of a antagonistic love story done right.
Did I hold my breath?
See, usually when you get excited, you tend to breathe heavily.
How do you...
It doesn't do the stereotypical, oh, they're in love at the end and no, they're adults. They hook up, they smack each other around, they give each other shit. Normally in situations when they're at each other's throats, it's too forced, or it's almost mean-spirited.
It gets irritating.
It gets to the abusive level, like this is supposed to be like romantic, or you're supposed to sense that they like each other. In this, no, that's just throwing shit at each other, because that's their personality.
And you know they are totally into each other. From the beginning, the first time they actually see each other, you can sense that they're into each other. And they just have this dance. This is their dance that they do with each other, where they're stealing each other's money, they're screwing each other over, they're taking pot shots at each other, all the way.
It's all in fun.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at the end of the film, she steals their money.
Yeah.
You know, but she does it with a smile, and she's like, knows that they're gonna chase after her to get the money back, and it's a game. It's fun. It's like friends giving each other shit. You make silly nicknames for each other and stuff like that. That's what it was, and 100% you could buy it. And even when they hook up, they never say "I love you" or "Oh, we're together for." No, it was like a hookup because. Come on, why not?
It's because it works. It just works between the two of them.
It was also led to some really funny bits later, some great lines later on.
And a lot of times, whenever there's jokes at her expense, a lot of times there'll be jokes at his expense. I mean, and that's important because if it's too lopsided, it could come off as abusive.
It was 100% equal, and he was also throwing shade at Coop.
Oh yeah.
And Coop was throwing shade back at him, so the shade was getting thrown at each other all the time.
Yeah, and at the core, you do have this great like trio all together. The at the time who we think is just the seasoned veteran lawman, the wily scoundrel gambler, and the beauteous con artist, and it's such a great trio, and it carries throughout the movie. But then of course the movie gets one big twist, of course at the end involving James Garner, which of course that was kind of a coup to get James Garner in this movie, like a major role.
He wasn't the first choice. First choice was Paul Newman.
And Paul Newman would be great.
And he was interested, but there was an issue with they would pay him enough.
Oh.
So he said no. So they went to James Garner, who played Maverick in the TV series, which makes sense.
And you have to be left to wonder if maybe at the very end they wrote that final twist at the end specifically because of that.
Possibly. I mean, it could have worked without the twist, but the twist is great.
The twist is still great just because the repartee between him and Mel Gibson is so good in that scene.
And it's also fun to just rewatch the film knowing the twist and seeing the signs all along.
That's what makes a twist great. It's not so much about the initial reaction when you get the twist, it's whether or not the movie can survive a rewatch after the twist. And this movie can survive. It actually gets even better with that twist. Revelation, Coop is actually Brett is Maverick's dad. You could actually say that's kind of akin to the 2000 Shaft, where you actually had Richard Roundtree as his original Shaft, and Samuel Jackson is just the next generation of Shaft. This is just the next generation of Maverick. I remember the movie doing well.
Well, I looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's like mid-60s. And I'm sitting going, what? But then again, there's a lot of times where critics have to look at it like critically. They can't look at it like film. They look at it like.
Yeah. I suppose, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if because William Goldman wrote this, and because he wrote... because he wrote Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, they expected...
No, it's the same movie. It's funnier than Butch Cassidy. But that
which is saying something. Which is saying something.
Funnier, which is saying a lot. But Butch Cassidy probably has a better story.
Yes, it does. And has much more subtext, much more...
Yeah,
it's much more poetic.
It's a more nuanced
film.
But... this is a fun one. Sometimes that's okay, and especially with westerns, which tend to be very serious, and it's rare to find correct me if I'm wrong, it's rare to find a really good, fun western. I can only think of Butch Cassidy and
Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles, but that's a spoof, so
yeah.
you're really not gonna. I wouldn't pick that.
So yeah, the fact that it's a straight western, but where
the good, the bad, and the weird. That's the only other one I can.
Yeah, the good, bad, and the weird.
Is funny.
Future rare delicacies, stay tuned. That's actually a lot of the reason why the Western genre kind of petered out, especially in the early 80s, was because a lot of them were coming out, and a lot of them on a story level just practically had the same story. A lot of them couldn't really get past the random stranger comes to a lawless town and brings justice to it, or stuff akin to that.
To the point now we're seeing the tropes of westerns and other things, and you're just staring at going, it's the western trope.
Whereas Maverick is just about people just living their day-to-day life, just going from town to town, just trying to survive, and actually, if anything else, just trying to find their worth in a much more turbulent place. And Maverick does a good job of that on a much more lighter, fun-spirited level.
Lighthearted, easy watch, which is why it's a comfort flick.
Exactly why it's a comfort flick. So we're going to bring a new feature to the table here. The person who brings the most to the table. I think it's safe to say we know who yours is.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Personally, for myself, just because he's such a great director in so many regards, just because, even when he does serious movies like the first Lethal Weapon, somehow he's always able to bring the fun to it. This, I would say, is Richard Donner. I think he's the one, for me, who brought the most to the table, but not just him alone. The combination of him with William Goldman combined ended up creating something very special here with this film that I think has kind of disappeared over time, and I really think and I wonder if it disappeared just because of the bad stigma of Mel Gibson.
I don't know if that's it. I mean, people can watch old stuff by people and not have it marked because it's pre-existing to when they
It's possible.
went out.
Yeah.
I mean, he seemed, I don't know, I haven't seen any Mel Gibson stuff for years. Like,
Yeah.
I legit haven't. But apparently he's coming back. I'm like, has he gotten better? Is
Yeah.
he admitted to being horrible and is becoming a better person? I mean,
Comment section, please keep us up to date on that. I'm actually curious.
I mean, so I'm all for someone changing their ways
Yeah.
and becoming a better person. Be a good person.
Yeah, just be a good person.
And
Be Maverick, honestly.
yes,
Be Maverick. You know? You can be a scoundrel, but you can be a charming scoundrel, a likable one. You know? You're allowed to be a naughty, but be the fun naughty.
yes.
Be Maverick. So, do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think Maverick is a forgettable Western, or do you think it's one of the truly most underrated Westerns of all time? Leave it all in the comments below. And for more addictive content on Narcotic Casserole, so if you like, share, subscribe, click, thou shalt be served.